Hello and welcome to Chartbusters. We start off the week on the back foot. The Nifty is down, nearing towards that 8,900 odd mark. So keep an eye out now. In fact, we're at the low point of the day. A lot of heavyweight stocks are selling off, and the culprit today is the Nifty Bank. I'm Nigel D'Souza, and joining me on the show is Mangalam Malu. Mangalam.
Not a good start at all. And in fact, I was looking at the Asian indices and the US futures as well as the European futures. All of them are doing much better. So the decline is purely on account of Indian indices. And that's telling you that the street does not like the stimulus that was offered or announced by the government. And we are bereft of any more cues. But I believe we have a corporate lined up with us. We have Mr. Ajay Bijli of PVR joining us. And to take us through the interview, we also have Lata. Good morning, Mr. Bijli. First up, your thoughts on movies being released on OTTs directly.
Yeah. Well, this has happened. Good morning, first of all, and thanks for having me on the show. There are films which are certainly made for OTT platforms, and then there are movies which are made for the big screen, and then they finally subsequently get released on other platforms, whether it's OTT or broadcasting. But the situation is very unusual. I mean, cinemas are closed. So my view is very simple, that if the cinemas are closed and the content makers, which is our supply chain, and if they are stressed for funds or to improve their liquidity and cash flows, and if they have to release the movies on OTT, there's nothing that we can do about it. But I do believe that the situation will be completely different once the cinemas open up, because it just doesn't make any economic sense to let go of 60% of the revenues that still get generated from theatrical. So all over the world and in India, theatrical is the first window where revenues get generated. After that comes OTT broadcasting. And that's a very big chunk. So if you look at the overall pie, which I spoke about last time in your channel as well, say roughly about 16,000 crores is the total net box office, the box office collections of India. 11,000, the film revenue, out of which 11,000 is still the box office collection. So the rest is 4,000-5,000 is what you get from other platforms. Plus overseas gets disrupted if you don't play on the theatrical. Music rights don't get sold. So there are a lot of things that don't happen if you straight away go to OTT, because even the music guys don't buy, because obviously the songs don't become popular, the music doesn't become popular. So mathematically speaking, economically speaking, it is only happening as an aberration, because this is an aberration. You don't have a situation where cinemas are locked down for 3 months. So therefore, if they're doing this, that's fine. But I don't think the bigger movies which are lined up, which is Suryavanshi, 83, Radhe, Coolie Number 1, a lot of Hollywood blockbusters, all those are waiting. I'm in touch with everybody for cinemas to open.
Okay. No, that's good to hear, Ajay. But, things can change incrementally. I mean, people who have got used to e-newspapers may not, not the entire lot will go back to the newspaper. Television, we face the same problem with digital, and we have to be both. So do you see some longer term reduction in the audiences and in the products? Maybe more will be made for OTT, and they will, find a way to have an alliance with the music guys as well. Do you see some bit of medium-term, long-term damage as well?
I don't see it at all, and I'm not, I read somewhere they said that hope is a great antidote to fear, and I'm not saying it from a hope point of view. I'm 100% optimistic, backed by data, that this is not going to happen. We are all eating at home in our kitchens, and all of a sudden restaurants are not going to shut down just because of that. So maybe that's not a correct analogy, but I do believe it's very clear. I think OTT people are consuming just now, and even before COVID they were consuming, even post-COVID they were consuming, because that's one more way of watching content. But I think it's inherent in human nature to go out and entertain yourselves, especially in our market. So PVR and the exhibition industry of the Indian market I'm talking about, it's too much into our fabric, in our culture, to go out and watch movies. So just now we're doing a wrong comparison. It is like a sportsman who's retired hurt, and we're comparing him with a sportsman who's actually on the field and playing. So we are retired hurt. We are when Lara and Tendulkar and all were being compared, if one was injured, you can't compare. So I'm shut. So the whole debate about OTT versus theatrical, I don't understand. Let us open first, and then we'll talk about it. I don't mind another interview after we open.
No. Speaking of
3 months down the road.
Take your sports analogy a little further. Actually, I was talking to two Man U and I think Chelsea fans just over the weekend, both from the United Kingdom, and I mean they were just waiting when things will open up and they will go back and see the live match and not have the match be played to empty stadiums and they have to watch on TV. So I know I'm not buying the point that things will come back to theatricals, but what is mentally the time you are giving it? Do you think it'll be a September, or is it earlier? And how much can you survive in terms of cash flows? How are you managing that period, your fixed costs in that period?
So there are two questions.
Yes.
One, you're saying that when will be open? So obviously after this new lockdown 4.0, there is still no visibility of when cinemas will open. But we had always taken in our forecasts and our assessments that we will open 1st July onwards. Malls may open 15 June. I got some indication. 15 June onwards, malls will open. But malls have a very, very strong interdependence on cinemas as well, because cinemas do generate footfalls. We are anchor tenants. We take 50,000-60,000 square feet of space. So I think about 2 weeks or maximum 3 weeks after the malls opening, we should open. So that's one question. And so we are okay as far as that is concerned. A lot of movies have got bunched up together, which are ready. Even post-production is over. So I do believe a lot of those movies will start probably releasing from 15 July onwards. We may have some trial period where even we'll need to get our act together, get the cleanliness going, train the staff and all that for the new way of, for some time till the vaccine comes and people's trepidations and fears come down to see how the cinemas operate. So I think I'm looking at maximum by mid-August, things to really pick up, because it's 15th August and lots of movies are lined up then, Hollywood films, Indian films. So I think that's the situation there. As far as cash flows are concerned, again, I spoke about it last time, that we had done a QIP in December of 500 crores, and not everything we had pared down. So we have the monies to see us through this period. And but as I said, we are all hoping now that since people are getting used to going out and all that, and to a certain extent, this lockdown has taken care of, controlling the spread. I'm hoping that people, will be opening shortly now, maximum, as I said, 1st to 15 July in a staggered manner, because India is a big country, 36 different states and union territories. So it'll all happen in a staggered manner.
All right, Mr. Bijli, you just told us that you have some cash in your books, but give us a sense in what is the total debt in your books. And for the last couple of months, have you been paying interest, or have you availed of some kind of moratorium?
We got some moratorium,
okay,
but which was there that was announced, I think, for everybody. Mm-hmm. And the last debt, I think my CFO is very good at all this. I'm more into popcorn and Pepsi selling. This is, I think, about 1,300 crores is the debt that we've got on the books as of last financial year.
Right, 1,300 crore worth debt. So we will, speak at an opportune time about your deleveraging plans, Mr. Bijli. But, an interesting thing, I was looking at your number of seats, close to around 1.8 lakh seats is what you operate right now. Once things do open up, I presume there would be some sort of social distancing. So what would be the operational number of seats for your entire screen portfolio?
So when you look at seats, we don't look at that to be our capacity, because seats have to be then multiplied by the number of shows. So whatever number, 130, whatever it is, first of all, you multiply that by 4. So that's our installed capacity, 4 or 5. In fact, we ended the last year with 5.2 shows. So that's the installed capacity. You play English movies, you play Hindi movies, and the lengths are different. So that's the capacity that we've got. As far as staggered seating is concerned, what we are planning to do, and this is subject to government agreeing, but most of the governments all over the world have agreed to this, is that groups will sit together. So if you're living with your family of 4, so we're living in a house anyway together. So we don't need to social distance ourselves from our own people, our own families. So typically families, groups are made to sit together. The box office software automatically takes care of that. And then the adjacent seats are left empty. So that's how the staggering happens. Staggering doesn't happen by leaving one seat empty, because if 4 people are living together in the house anyway, you don't want to again create a distance. Couples, friends who are meeting each other. So I think that's how staggering will happen, which will give us maybe a 25% overall loss. We've done the numbers simply in our capacity. And that capacity, as I said, is the number of seats multiplied by 5, just that number of seats. And also because Monday, this capacity also gets impacted more during peak hours, which is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So therefore, we're going to play around with our pricing in such a manner that the weekend skew and weekday skew is not that much, and a lot of traffic gets shifted to the weekdays as well. So therefore, we'll make sure that even after the social distancing norms, we will not have too much seat loss or capacity loss rather.
Fair point there. 25% could be the capacity